Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. This is All Emotion. I'm your host, Jake. I want to thank, number one, our guest for coming through, and thank you all for taking the time to listen. This is episode number 56, Marriage and Relationships. Our next guest is no stranger to All Emotion. Again, like I just said, this is her third interview. She is a domestic violence survivor, transformational coach, loving mom, amongst other things that she does. All the way from South Beach, Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, Malyssa Jackson. Hello, and welcome again to All Emotion. I'm your host, Jake. We have again, back from South Beach, Miami. All the way to Alexandria, Virginia, in the flesh. Ladies and gentlemen, Malyssa Jackson.
Yay!
How are we doing?
Excellent.
It's great to see you again.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. We're lovely to see you. Thank you again for making time.
Thank you for having me.
For coming back
so
through.
Grateful.
So just real quick, people out there that don't know you, want to give just a quick little intro about who you are?
Well, my name is Malyssa Jackson, and I'm a transformational coach. What does that mean? I help people get from where they are to where they want to go in life by teaching them how to transform their mind, body, and spirit. So with that said, I teach yoga, I do some health coaching. I really just help you to do like an overall transformation, overhaul, change over your life. And I learned that by changing my life several times over to just always constantly be bettering myself and teaching others how to do the same thing.
That's awesome. It's almost like it's very, very selfless, a lot of the time, even though, obviously everybody needs to, make money. But, a lot of it has been through, a lot of what we already spoke about in the past interviews, like you share trauma.
It's true. By nature, naturally, God has given me the ability to, just be a healer and, be able to be around people and motivate them to a better life and motivate them to want to be happy or healthy or, just live a very fulfilled life. And it's just always been something that I've always done and loved to do.
Your passion.
Absolutely. Well, it's, like I said, it's something I fell into because I was just kind of born this way. It started with massage therapy when I was young. And then when I went to massage school, they were like, oh, you're a natural. And I was like, okay. So I kept doing it, and I just kept getting better because, the more you do something, you get better. And then it was, personal training and then yoga. And yoga helped me understand spirituality and mental state and physical and how they all connect. I think a lot of times people don't understand that we're not just a physical body. We are a mind, we are a body, and we are a spirit. And you can't just focus on one. You have to figure out how to connect them all together for, your optimal well-being. In my opinion.
No, absolutely. No, I appreciate you sharing. This is like our third episode with you. And so happy, obviously, number one, that you're here. And this one, what we're going to do is you shed light on it in the last episode, but we really want to dive in. And something that we like to touch on all emotion outside of mental health is relationships. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of great episodes, and I'd say the past few months, speaking to individuals, and some of them are specialists in that field. But no, just want to get your opinion and thoughts. Like you said, we spoke about it briefly on the last one. If you would just want to kind of recap. Starting out, I know you've been married twice now, and just, diving into that, being married and, what can people even, regardless if they're male or female, just watch out for before taking that leap of, getting married.
So the thing about relationships, or what I have concluded about relationships, is as you are evolving as a person, as you're evolving spiritually, your relationships will change. The kind of people that you will want to be with, the kind of people you'll want to be around will change. And if you're in a relationship with someone that, and you guys really connect, then they'll also be growing and changing with you as well. When I think back to, when I first started having boyfriends as a teenager, I used to pick men that were, or boys at the time, that were cheaters. I always, that was my thing. because that was what I relationally understood. That's what I had seen growing up. So I understood that all guys were cheaters. And then, I got over that and then didn't deal with cheaters anymore. But then I was dealing with, someone who was abusive, verbally, mentally, physically. Once I got over that, then I noticed that, maybe there was jealousy issues or control issues or this or that. So as I was evolving and becoming stronger mentally, physically, and spiritually, those things that I didn't like about my relationships would eventually fall off, and I didn't attract that anymore. But as I got better, I began to attract better or different kinds of people. And I began to attract more of what was the true, more authentic version of me. So right now, I'm still in the process of finding myself and becoming the most authentic version of myself. And I believe as I continue to evolve, I continue to attract people or a mate, a relationship that is more connected to the most authentic version of myself. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, sweet. That's what I wanted to do. Make perfect sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, do you want to speak about your marriages at all? Do people give people insight about it?
I feel like so if I'm
if you're gonna be honest,
if I'm gonna be honest,
we want you to be honest.
Sometimes I don't really want to be honest. So the truth.
We want the truth.
The truth.
Truth. What do they say? The truth will set you free, right?
I don't know. Like,
you don't think so?
I'm a big truth teller. Because, I could have kept this to myself. But, again, I'm a big truth teller. And I don't know how to lie. And you asked me a question. So I have to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I want to know the truth.
So when I was 18, I did get married briefly. He was in the military. And I kind of snuck away to go visit. And he was like, oh, I've been away all weekend. They're going to give me a dishonorable discharge.
Right. You want AWOL.
Yeah. If I don't come back and say I was married.
Exactly.
So we ran off and I missed my plane and we got married.
That's all like Las Vegas type of stuff, right? Going now, right?
And look, my whole life is just like one crazy story after another, but that's just the way I roll. I don't do, regular things that people do. Like, what is the point?
Right.
So anyway, at the time I thought that was a good idea, but he was one of those cheaters that I dealt with. And one day he didn't come home. And the next day when I went to his job, he pulled up with another woman.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Are you kidding me? I could care less. I was a kid. Now, I could care less now. I'm an adult now. And those kind of things don't happen to me anymore.
Right.
But that's the kind of relationship that I used to attract. And then once I realized that I, no longer did I attract and believe in that so much, I don't attract men that are quote unquote cheaters. But, I've had other issues over the years that, with relationships that I could just see a pattern. And again, it's because it's what I used to believe I deserved. We are all walking around attracting and getting in life what we believe we deserve.
Now, just want to bring this point up.
Yeah, go for it.
It's all about energy. Would you agree?
Everything is energy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You want to expand on that and what you think about that?
Sure.
So when it comes to
this is my favorite
attracting
topic.
people.
Everything is energy. So we live in this world where everything can be broken down to the smallest vibration, and we're all vibrating as who we are. Our being is vibrating, and what we're giving off, the energy that we're getting off, is the energy that we're getting back. It's called the law of attraction. So if you are vibrating at an energy level that says all men or all women are cheaters, then everything that comes to you, you see someone, you're like, ooh, they're attractive. That person most likely is going to be vibrating at the same level as you. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be attracted to each other. I can't attract.
So negative and negative, right? Like a lot of times.
Well, who's to say that it's negative? I'm not going to judge it as negative or positive. It's just attraction. They're just.
Well, you find those relationships. Okay. Now they say, and this is my experience too. I'm just going to put myself out there.
Okay.
That talk about sex a little bit. Is it, in your opinion, sometimes, and this is just me as a guy speaking, some of the best sex that I have had is with dysfunctional and toxic relationships.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? Okay. I'm just trying to get everything in place for you here. That way, you can
set it up for me.
Okay, I'm setting it up for you. So there you go.
So here's the thing. You already believe that. You have a belief that good sex comes from dysfunctional relationships, or dysfunctional relationships are going to result in good sex. So that's what you're going to attract. So you can meet someone and the sex be great, and because you already believe that those things are related, you're going to start to notice a dysfunctional relationship. So it could have been functional before until you realize that the sex was good. So if you want to attract something different, then you're going to have to believe that a functional relationship can have good sex. I mean, I do agree that the relationships that I have been in, where the sex was phenomenal, that the relationships were dysfunctional. However, I also believe that I was a dysfunctional human at the time. So I cannot expect anything different to be attracted into my life. So until I get to a place where I'm a fully functional human, then who am I to say that a relationship is functional or dysfunctional? I don't know if I've ever been in a functional relationship. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Even my last relationship appeared to be functional.
No, this is Miami.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah. My most recent husband, I'm still married. So I'm saying this out loud. I haven't said this out loud yet. But, on the outside, on the surface, the relationship appeared to be functional. What people see is, oh, they're so happy. We never argued. We didn't have any issues. It appeared to be functional. But the reality is, there was not very much communication. There wasn't very much connection. There wasn't very much intimacy. And, he's a really good person. I'm a really good person. So we were really good to each other. But technically it was still a dysfunctional environment, because people are holding stuff in and not really, being real, and there's no real expression there. So it didn't feel functional, So a functional relationship, which I have seen, like I know it exists. I know that there are people who have really great functional relationships, It's just, it requires work. It requires work, and it requires two people to be willing to grow together. You have to be willing to say to each other, hey, there's a problem here. Let's work on this problem together, and let's move forward together. And then let's not stop working on it until it's fixed, especially if we are intending to be together forever. Forever is a really long time to have a problem between the person that you have to lay beside every night of the week. If we have a problem and the problem is not being resolved, it's just being swept under the rug, then you have a situation where, that's not functional. Someone is eventually going to be very, very sad because their need is not being met. And if the other person is not willing to meet their need, then that is not a functional relationship, no matter how great it looks on the outside.
And I want to plug an episode real quick that we did. Scar City did, a co-host partner here in All Emotion. Number 40, Alexander the Great. This is the second episode. Scar City is a friend of his, a good friend. And they did, episode was number 40, Alexander the Great. Communication is nothing without comprehension.
That part.
Now, we can. I don't want to jump all off. We're going to go back to talking about where we're getting back on track. What you and I were speaking about, relationships and marriages. But I wanted to bring this up because you're speaking about dysfunctional. It's people say, "Oh, communication is why the relationship failed." But I like this episode. I'll tell you why. Why I liked it a lot was the fact that if you don't understand something, you cannot communicate.
Absolutely.
So in that episode, he did Alexander the Great. Second episode on All Emotion. Did a phenomenal job at breaking that down, and it's both Scar City and him.
And I would love to listen to that because I agree wholeheartedly. I think that two people can be communicating and having a conversation, but if you're not understanding each other, then it's like talking to a brick wall. And then what I find so interesting is that one person will continue to say the same thing over and over, but nobody is hearing anything.
Right. I got you.
You can't say the same words and think that now I understand.
It's like talking to a wall, right?
It's like talking to, it's exactly talking to a wall.
Yeah.
So, that's difficult when you're in a relationship and people are not willing to break through the wall, because if there's a wall there, then now you're both living on either side of the wall. right? Because the wall is the communication,
Right.
and you're talking
Absolutely.
to the wall. You're not talking
Right.
to your partner.
Right.
You're talking to the wall. So both of you are on either sides of the wall, and you're living together, and you're married together, and you're in this relationship together, but there's a wall there.
Right.
And somebody has to pick up the fucking jackhammer
Right.
and break the wall. So whatever it takes, whether that means, work out together or go to counseling together, or I don't know, bringing a friend, or, journal together, who knows? I don't know what the answer is, but something has to get you through the wall. Otherwise, that relationship is destined to not work, because eventually someone's going to walk away from the wall.
Right. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah.
They're not walking away from the relationship. They're walking up from the imaginary wall that's been built there by lack of comprehension in the communication. So I really I really like the idea that the comprehension matters more than the actual words.
Correct.
Because you can talk till you're blue in the face, but if you don't understand each other, then the words are wasted. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah. And I had never quite heard it that way before, but for me, based on what I have experienced, it makes perfect sense, because that was one of the issues. But it was like, I don't think that you understand what I'm saying. And for me, because I like to get better. I like to grow. I like to go to get help or whatever it takes to move forward. That's me. So that's what I understand. But, some people just say, well, hey, I'm giving you love by my love language. Why isn't that enough? And I feel like when you're speaking forever, because, marriage is forever, I feel like there's more things that have to be done for two people to be happy. It's a lot of people who stay married forever that are not happy. I don't understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, yeah.
It's your life. If you're not happy, why are you here?
Right.
You are here to be happy and enjoy your life and enjoy yourself and to do the things that make you happy so that the people around you can be happy. Because don't think for a second that if you're miserable, that the people around you are happy being around you.
Right.
Because they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you said, you mentioned energy. When you're around someone and they're miserable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially if you're around them all day, every day. So it's important for you to be honest with yourself and connect to your own source of happiness and your own soul, your own spirituality, so that you can free yourself. And then that way, the people around you can be free. Your relationships can be free. Your kids, your parents, your family, your business, your job, whatever. You can live a free existence if you can really connect to your own personal peace.
All right. I appreciate it. And then we just get back right on track, talking about, and then we'll roll right into the last few questions we have for you here. We're talking about your marriages. So you spoke about the one, and I only know of two.
I know.
So
I know. I just
you said I want to get back on track, so that way, you know what I mean. We want to deep dive quickly, if that's okay with you.
Oh my goodness! All right.
So we talked about first one. We got that. That's number one.
Yeah. The first one, and then so after that is when I got pregnant with my oldest son.
Okay.
And I was involved with his father, got pregnant, we got married, and
this is number two.
This is number two,
okay.
Which most people in the world think is number one until now. So
okay.
Until now, because the first one kind of ended within like a couple months or whatever it was. So that didn't really count. So we were married, and I noticed right away that that he had an issue with anger and putting his hands on people, me. And, I would fight back. I don't ever want people to think that I was a weak damsel, because he would be really, really upset if I led people to believe that I just sat around and got my ass whooped every day. I was a fighter. So I fought back, always. But I knew that I didn't want to be in a relationship where I had to fight for my life every day. Nobody wants to fight for their life every day. And he always wanted to fight when my kid was there. And I knew I didn't want my kid to grow up in a situation where he's watching us physically fight every day. And, once he tried to kill me, that was it.
Yeah, and you spoke about that in the last episode we did with you.
Yeah.
You spoke about that.
Yeah, that moment when he tried to kill me, I was like, you know what? If I stay here,
and for people
one
that
of
didn't
us is
listen to
gonna die.
that episode, I mean, not to get too deep, but he put a gun to your head.
Yes, he put a gun to my head, and he told me he was going to kill me. And my son, who was 1 year old at the time, was laying in the bed right there beside me. Luckily, he was sleeping. And
Do you remember the time? Like, what you said in the last episode? You said to yourself, well, if you remember, I know. I'm not trying to go back, and the past is, what were you thinking at that moment? If you can go back, share with the audience.
In that moment, I was thinking, I wanted him to pull the trigger because I knew I did not want to live the rest of my life with him.
Why? You didn't want to be with him.
Absolutely. My exact words were, please pull the trigger because anything would be better than being with you. And I remember when we went to court, because I went to court to get a restraining order. And, the judge asked me, are you scared of him? And I was like, nope.
Wow.
And he thought it was just too crazy. He's like, she's the one that's crazy. She's this, she's that. And I was like, I was not afraid of him because at the time there was a movie out at the time with J-Lo in it. I can't remember the name, but she was going through the same thing in the movie. She was in an abusive relationship. She took her kid, went across town, and she became a fighter. And so that's what I did. I started picking up on my fighting skills.
Right.
And
you told me, not to interrupt, in the last episode, you used to fight back, like physically fight back with your.
I did. I used to physically fight back, and it was just the one time that I didn't, and that was only to prove a point that I needed to get out of the relationship. But after that, I really became serious about my fighting and my physicality, and I went and I started training. I got my concealed and carry permit.
Okay.
So that because I was like, this man is going to come to my home and he's going to try and kill me.
For sure.
For years, it was bad. He would call constantly, show up in strange places. But one time I just said, look, if you ever come to my house, I'm strapped. So,
yep.
And I have a restraining order.
Oh yeah.
So
you check the boxes. Everything.
Watch yourself.
Women out there that are going through domestic violence, this kind of situation, what would you? I just want to know real quick, since you're on it, what would you advise them?
Get strong, because what happens is, I think there's a weakness implanted in the mind, that you have to, submit to this man or be weaker than this man or allow him to do this to you because you're a woman and because, women are weaker, blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to remove that from your thought process. Like, there's no one in this world that can tell me that there is a man out there that I need to be afraid of. I don't care how big he is.
Right,
I will not be afraid. I will not fear. And I always say, when it's over, you'll at least know that I got something in on him, because I'm not going to allow myself to be, quote unquote, the weaker sex.
Right.
And, hey, if you need help, give me a call. I will be your strength until you get your own. But you got to get your own strength. You got to put your big girl panties on, whatever it takes, and figure out how to make yourself stronger.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And, so the only 2 marriages, right? There's the third, I feel like, somewhere. You're laughing because you said before, we want to be truthful. So hopefully be truthful with us. Yes. I mean, all emotion is all emotion.
So there was the first.
You go on another podcast and be not honest, okay? This is not the podcast you cannot be honest.
And then there's the third one.
So we got 3.
So when you ask me, will I ever do this again? So when I met my husband, he was like the nicest, sweetest man.
This is number 3.
Met. Yeah, this is my current child's father.
But you're in the process of getting divorced.
We are separated.
And
I haven't claimed a divorce yet. He hasn't claimed a divorce yet, but we are struggling in our situation. He was a very, very good to me in the beginning. Always very nice, very kind. It was intentional, Okay, so he, checked all the boxes. He does this, he does that, and he checked the boxes, and he did all the things that needed to be done in the beginning to make it work out. And like most people do, like You know, in the beginning, we show up as one thing or one way, one person. And then, you know, a few years in, you show up as you finally start to become your actual self. And then when you become your actual self, you realize that your actual self is not who you were in the beginning. But at that point, it's too late. And you're in it. And you have to make a decision. Am I going to do this forever? Or am I going to be true to myself and say, I'm not happy.
Right.
And I deserve to be happy, and I want to be happy in my life.
Right.
And that's what happens.
Right. No, I appreciate you, being truthful, honest, transparent.
It's so hard. It's so hard. What I believe at this point in my life, what I know to be marriage, is not what I choose to be. Because in my mind, based on the experiences that I've had, based on what I've seen in my life, based on what I know, the idea of what marriage is just, it doesn't resonate with me anymore. It's not who I am. Now, that's not saying that I won't be in a relationship. It's not saying I won't be loved or, in love or anything like that. I just know that as a married person, I personally turn into something or someone different that's not me. I feel like I become a slave.
Yeah, you said that last episode.
Yeah, I don't like slavery. I was freed from slavery, my
But this third one, just to be clear, I want to be clear with the audience, right? It's not dysfunctional. Like,
to be clear, if it were functional, we would probably still be together. So it's not dysfunctional in the sense that he wasn't physically abusive.
Right. Okay.
There was no physical abuse or anything like that. There was no cheating or anything like that. We weren't cheating on each other. It was just, I'm not even sure I'm ready to verbalize it in this moment.
That's okay.
It just wasn't happy.
Right.
And there was no growth together.
Right.
The growth was going in different directions. And I don't feel as though I would ever have been able to excel in that situation.
Right.
To my next level in life.
Right. You spoke about it last one, but we want to clarify this again because I want to talk about it. The women today, certain women in this country, in the United States, I'm not speaking about any other country because we live here in the United States, speak on they do not need a man. Okay? Not saying they don't want to have sex. They don't need a man.
This is a big thing.
We get to go on and on. And I know we got to close it up here shortly, but just want you to shed light, if you can, for a little bit of clarification, in your opinion, as you spoke on it on the last episode when I asked you about that.
So what is the issue? Is the issue that women don't want to be married, or is the issue that women are beginning to realize that they don't need anyone to survive? And I feel like there are different levels. Are we speaking survival? To survive, you need what? Some food, and really
water,
shelter.
That's it.
Shelter,
yeah,
and
exactly.
And relationships. So you do need.
You need love. You don't need it, but it obviously.
I think you do need love. I think you need love to live, because they have proven that babies who don't get love, they die. So I do feel like we need love. So, but love can come from, which we're finding is probably why everybody has a pet these days. Love can come from these pets, and they come from your friends, really good friends and sisterhoods and communities. I feel like everyone has a right to do what they feel is best for them. I will never say that I don't want to be in a relationship with a man again. That would be a lie. I like men. And, I like feeling loved. I like giving love. I like receiving love, and I like sex. And that's just me being completely honest. So I don't understand someone who says, well, I don't need a man, and I can never be in that type of physical relationship again. I need physical. If we're speaking 5 love languages, physical touch is my love language. But I'm also a massage therapist. So I understand the importance of physical touch. I understand the importance of hugs. I understand the importance of, when someone is touching your body, how that relieves stress and can relieve sickness and illness. So with all of that said, I personally believe that physical touch is extremely important from another human. Now, you can get that from a massage. You could pay someone for that. So I don't know what these women are going through, but I do understand that marriage is not what it used to be. The family dynamic has changed. I feel like kids need mommy and daddy. If there are kids involved, they need mommy and daddy. Kids need that because they have to see both sides. They have to understand. I feel like that is super, super important. For me, that is the hardest part about not being in a relationship. But I also believe that every person should do what's best for them. And if a person gets to a point where they say, hey, I don't need to be in a relationship anymore, then that is their personal opinion, their personal truth. And we are all constantly changing.
Right. Yeah.
The world is constantly changing. People are constantly changing from one day to the next. You feel something one day and you change your mind the next day. I'm sure a lot of women that say that are saying that because they don't believe that there's someone out there for them. But because they're saying that, I believe that they are repelling that person. So if the energy you're putting out there into the world is, I don't need a man, then you're going to find yourself without a man. And I feel like sometimes people say that because you know how sometimes when you think the worst because you're scared that the worst will happen, you don't want to think that good thing is just too good. So they're not willing to create the idea that there's a perfect person out there for them. So out of fear, they'd rather say, there's no one out there for me, so I'll just be alone.
Right.
And why would you choose to be alone?
Right.
So I do think, since I'm talking about it, I do think that those statements come from fear and a lack of trust that there's a possibility that there is someone out there for you. And once you become true and clear with yourself and say, you know what, I'm open to receive someone who is for me, that I can trust and that I can love, and they cross off all these boxes and yada, 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 then you'll receive that. You just have to be open to receiving it and creating it in your life.
Any last few words or anything you want to share with the audience or anything, any other tips, advice, tricks?
Anything else? I really think that when it comes to relationships, any relationship that we have with other people is just a relationship that we have with ourselves. And I feel like I have been married 3 times. Yes, I'm going to say it out loud because my relationship with myself was really shitty for most of my life. But that is why I work so hard at meditating every day, doing my yoga practice, speaking affirmations, all these tools and things that I do so that I can be a complete human, get to know myself fully and completely so that I can attract someone else who knows themselves fully and completely, and we can create in this world together. I think that's the goal, and I think that's a good goal for everyone. Know yourself first so you can so you can have someone else in your life that also knows themselves, and you can, have an amazing life together, but you can't do that if someone is not willing to know themselves. You can't, because you're both going to keep attracting everything that is not true about yourself and everything that you don't like and everything that you believe, whether it's good for you or not. So I'm here for you, and find me, reach out to me for some transformational coaching, and we can talk about it. We can get to the bottom of it. I'll help you get to the bottom of what it is that you believe and why you keep attracting the same relationship.
Right. No, I appreciate it. And that lastly, you kind of just led into it. How can people out there that want to reach you, all the different...
Find me on social media. I'm
Malyssa Jackson, right?
Yeah, MalyssaJackson.com.
On Instagram, right? Instagram too?
Yes, yeah. Instagram.
Malyssa Jackson.
MalyssaJackson.com. And yeah, I mean, that's the best way. My
And
email.
obviously, Linktree is there. People you can find the
My
Linktree.
link tree is there.
And you got all your services that
Send me
you
a
offer
message.
off there, right? You got
Yeah, I
everything.
mean, I'm really easy to find.
Mindful movement classes, transformational coaching, free 15-minute consultation.
Yeah, I think we can talk for 15 minutes,
Yeah.
and you can see if you like me or not, and
Right.
then you won't lose
Hey.
a thing.
Hey, why not, right?
Talk to me for free.
Yeah, there you go. 15 minutes. Where do you get 15? Where do you get anything for free these days, right?
Absolutely. I mean, hey, at least 15 minutes.
Right. You got anything else?
I think that's it. I think that's all I got. I'm sure
Okay.
you'll have me back to ask
Absolutely.
more questions.
No, appreciate you coming by the AIM studio here, Alexandria, Virginia. And how much longer are you gonna be around the area? Do you think for?
You know, I don't have an answer. I wish I did, but you know, still here sorting things out with my family.
For sure.
And you know, just getting a little break from all that I've been through in the last year, and you know, just figuring things out day to day. You know, always constantly working on myself.
Well, appreciate you, Malyssa. Always great to see you, and I hope we'll have you back before you finally go back to South Beach.
Yes.
Right.
Is that where I want to be or
For
need
sure.
to be right now? So
Right.
that kind of thing is, you know, I have to think about that too.
All right. Well, take care. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. Thank you again, Malyssa, for being very transparent and vulnerable. I know myself, Scar City, is a very powerful episode, and I know not just women, but men as well. It'll affect them, and definitely, you know, just take a look at their own, hopefully take a look at their situation, if it's with a partner, marriage, relationship, what have you. We look forward to having you back anytime you like. It's always a pleasure to see you, and definitely, you know, you come through AIM Studios. If you've not done so already, please go to our website at allemotionpodcast.com and make sure you subscribe to our mailing list. From Scar City and myself, All Motion staff,